Okay, well, since so many of us are stuck inside till this virus thing passes, thought maybe you might enjoy a 2020 tour of the Robot Hut. It's still winter here. It's freezing out here right now. It's 33 degrees, so it's 1 degree above freezing. And it's only going to be about 5 degrees warmer in here, but you'll get the idea. Okay, so here we are inside the airlock, inside the Robot Hut. And you enter. There's a display that plays old toy commercials, mostly for robots. And 20 years ago, it's when I started building the building, where I picked the site and hired a company to put up the frame, but then I did the rest of the work myself. It took about a whole year to build everything. So, once we leave the airlock, and I don't have a wide angle lens, so it's going to be really hard to get everything in. But when you come through the door, this is where we just came from, the airlock, over to this side. Of course, we have Robbie standing in the corner there. This is the one that I had built. And in fact, there's a whole lot of Robbie toys and paraphernalia and things in this side of the room. Well, actually, almost any corner of the room you go to, you're going to find a lot of Robbie stuff. A lot of the books and literature, some in the cabinets, some on this display frame here. Next to the guest book, which bet's gonna stay empty this year, or pretty close to it probably. This is a virus-free zone. No one's been in here since, except for me, since last summer. So it's pretty clean. So the walls, everything is full of stuff. You got to look everywhere with the camera. Like I say, I can't get far enough back without a wide angle lens, so a lot of this is going to end up having to be just close-up work. So up above we have a Spark machine, and a lot of the different Robbie toys are stacked up there. This is the mechanized robot from the 1950s, and then it goes into the second edition, or repos, whichever term you'd prefer, that were made by Osaka Tin. You have two of the rarest colors. First is the Kitahara color that was made custom for him, and the Ray Rohr color that was made custom for him. Then these were colors that they sold to the general public. And other Robbie type toys down here. Some 3D printed ones that you might recognize. The Fab 365s kits, and some of the other bizarre ones that you can find out there. Your pugs and your planets. Get down to the little teeny C57D control consoles, larger ones. Robbie Jeeps, different sizes. Blasters. Larger 3D printed Fab 365, larger Robbie Jeep. Even the bigger yet Robbie Jeep up there. So let's go on down this row a little bit further. We got in here. Here we got some Bender stuff. Nova's Ark. Got some Iron Giant stuff. And of course, down below all these, which again, without the wide angle lenses, you can't bring it in, but there's all kinds of stuff down below the cabinets as well. Here's a row of Robbies as he was seen in different movies and TV shows. And A lot of the Lost in Space B9 stuff. Little itty bitty B9 robots. All different sizes and scales and years and versions. To 3D printed ones. It's cold out here. Hopefully I can hold the camera semi-still. It's cold enough I might start shaking, make it pretty hard. Yeah, it looks like in here I'd put a lot of the TV robots, not all of them. That's robots that have either moving pictures or static pictures in the chest. They were always a favorite of mine when I was a kid. A lot of different variations. They may look the same to most of you, but they're all different one way or another. So, looks like I can back up a little bit here now and get a little bit more in. You can see up above there's a lot of the inflatables. If I back up even more, we were standing underneath the Lost in Space ship right there, the Jupiter 2. All kinds of variations of smaller bump and go robots, larger Supercons. And if you're familiar with my channel, there's plenty of videos of the Machine Man Band playing. It's two different robots that are tied together through a MIDI commands from the computer over there to play all kinds of different songs with the pipes and cowbell and wood blocks and triangle and snare and kick drum and on and on and on. Xylophone, sleigh bells, two different cymbals, all tied together. There's the Target Earth robot. There's my walking chair. And of course the full-size Robbie Jeep, which works. And what else have we got back on this side here? Got a cabinet full of goodness. A lot of the Radicon buses and Radicon toys and things stacked in there. Again, I wish I could get far enough where you could really see this stuff, but got a rack of some of my more favorite robot and sci-fi related comics in these glass shelves, which are stacked full above and below. Usually in this upper layer up here, not the very top, but the first glass layer, that's all Papercraft, which are files you download from the internet, print on your printer, cut out and put together to make different things. In this case I was printing robots. Some of them are mechanical, some of them aren't. Some of them are quite sophisticated, like the R2-D2. There's lots of little teeny parts to make. See, here's the size of my hand. To make something that small from flat paper, and all the curves. Got a lot of different B9 type robots and things. Even the time machine in Papercraft. Even the marionette in Papercraft. But we have a lot of vintage robots stuffed in here too. Some of them I even forgot that I had. A lot of repros. So over on this side, above, again there'll be all kinds of toys up above. You get in with some of these vintage gear robots and stuff. Some of the robots and vehicles, some of the more rare ones. As a kid, Mr. Mercury was one of my favorite ones. I had the gold Mr. Mercury, because you could actually play with the toy. And obviously these are originals. It's been reproed, as you all probably know that are into the toys. kinds of head splitters and the Mr. Monsters. We got it going up above. Hey, wait a minute. Didn't everybody die in that movie from disease, from breathing our air? Ooh, that sounds familiar. Okay. All kinds of good stuff here. And of course we didn't cover a lot of what's in here because again, it's so tight without a wide angle lens. Someone ought to give me a camera with a wide angle lens and a Steadicam, or at least a video stabilizer. Alright, let's walk around over here. So we have Huey, Dewey, and Louie. It's a 3D printed one that I made that can walk. Of course, the B9 robot, which I built years and years ago. Tobar the Great, which I built two of, one for me and one for Fred Barton Productions. Gort, who's mechanized. And here's where I moved most of my 3D printed robot projects into these shelving units. Here's Zobar the Great. Again, I think there's plenty of videos of him working. Basically, you put your hand on there and then it tells your fortune. And here we have another row of stuff. I'm just wondering if I shoot it from over here, maybe I can shoot it sideways and you can see more. Let's give this a try. See if we can get more in this way. So up above, kind of give you a bird's eye view of what's going on here. I will have to dip down lower because this hanging rack will make it hard to do this, but basically we have here is a lot of robots and vehicles. Down below, a lot of the larger plastic robots. Still the robots and vehicles. Kinds of different stuff going on here. Looking into the back wall, and there's stuff hanging everywhere. There's a Robo rig head that I did years and years ago. It's a mixed media sculpture. Got a full-size RoboCop riding in the Jeep with Robbie. Of course, C-57D. Over on this side, there's the rowboat. Or robot, since it's a robot that rows. Yeah, I'd even forgotten that I had that one up there. All kinds of different smoking robots variations. Since it's been reproed, into so many different things. Clear down here on the end is an original smoking robot, and then it starts with the repros that came out in the 1980s that were being pawned off as originals for a while, and then the more current repros. Large robot tractor thing. It's very rare. Japanese box worth there. Here we get into some of the robot games. Here's my gang of 4. Let's take a hike around the corner. Got your cotton candy robots back there. Basically overflow of things from Christmases and birthdays that I haven't found any room to put anywhere. Yep, out of room. There's my Johnny 5 that I built. There's Maria. And all kinds of carded things. I mean, I've got all the Terminator carded stuff and RoboCop carded stuff, plus many of the other, a lot of the Z-Bot carded stuff. One of the Dr. Satan robots. I don't know if I can get far enough away first really to see much of what's going on down here. But basically this is a now narrow walkway with stuff on both sides. It's a C-3PO I built a long time ago. There's a larger astrogator from the C-57D. We've got basically these hanging shelves here, just covered in robots and paraphernalia. Let's go over this way. Here we got some robot arms. And I can feel the shivers and shakes coming, so the camera work may get even jerkier. I'll probably have to speed this up because I am getting cold. Probably just should have worn gloves. That would have helped. If the old hands felt warm, could fool the rest of the body into thinking it's warm. But I'm not warm. Okay. So many toys. Because the aisle's so narrow, I'm kind of holding this camera to the side of my head, so I realize there's a good chance a lot of the things I'm seeing with my eyes probably aren't being seen by the camera because I can't see the viewfinder. Back here is where I keep a lot of the robot pinball machines, which if it wasn't so cold, I would be playing. Love the Bride. That's my favorite pinball machine. And of course, Egghead's my oldest robot pinball machine, but it's also one of the hardest to play. Another variation of Robbie back here in R2-D2 herd. Let's see. Let's take a look at this wall. All kinds of stuff up here. A lot of the robot kits. A time machine model that I built, large scale, and Johnny 5s. We got all kinds of stuff here. Some of the larger HomeBots, kind of tripping over the Thurman, which I have shut down so it wouldn't be screaming at us as we walked by. Again, I'm just amazed that I'm seeing things that I don't even remember that I had. Sign that I'm getting old. Wouldn't it be something if they give you a sign that you're getting young? I guess that doesn't happen unless you're Mr. Button. It's the Uncle Simon Robbie head. What do we got going on over here? Anything that I can get on camera? Kind of tough, kind of narrow. I guess the only problem, if I even had a wide-angle lens, is it distorts things so much that everything would look rounded around the edges, wouldn't it? Well, hopefully this let a lot of you kill a few minutes, since you're probably stuck in the house or isolated, looking for something to do. Hopefully there've been some treasures here that you enjoyed seeing. Leave some comments if there's something in particular you'd rather have me cover more time on or demonstrate, because I'll bundle up a little bit better and come back out and shoot a longer video on that topic if there's enough people that want to see something. But I think that about wraps up all I really wanted to cover. Just kind of an overview of how the Robot Hut Museum looks in the year 2020. Again, these were a lot of my 3D printed projects, but you can see almost all of them on my channel and YouTube if you search. And a lot of them were up on Thingiverse for you to build, although as per usual, Thingiverse isn't worth a crap. Seems to be down this morning anyway. They said they were going to fix it and they put up a whole new version, and the whole new version isn't even loading today, so Lord only knows what that's all about. Let's end with a little Robbie action here. They had the tubes on steady so they could warm up. Let's grab the remote here. This is the remote. Every one of these buttons will correspond to something different. So let's okay, give me a dome light. I'm going to get further back. Now we got some gyro action going on. Oh, there we go with some ear spinners, scanner rings. Now we got the heart box. With all those actions going. Oh, I see, that's the wig wag up in the top of the head. See him up there? And oh, there's the sax valves.
Morbius is in his study, sir. Never to be disturbed while that door is closed.
So we had some different sound samples.
Do not speak English. I am at your disposal with 187 other languages along with their various dialects. Aye, aye, skipper.
So I'm just randomly hitting different sound sample buttons.
I am monitored to admit no one at this hour.
You see here's the remote.
For your convenience, I am monitored to respond to the name Robbie. Something is approaching from the southwest. It is now quite close.
I shut the heart box off so it wouldn't be so noisy.
Passengers will please fasten their seatbelts. My beams are focused on your blasters, gentlemen.
Alright, well let's see if this is the main power switch. Yeah, it is. Alright. Let's set this down here. And say goodbye to the hut till it warms up, right?